I'm Dwayne Brown. Tonight on KPBS Evening Edition, San Diego City Council approves a plan to make over Balboa Park. Preservationists are promising a legal challenge.
I'm Peggy Pico. Tonight at the Roundtable, we'll have details about the Balboa Park renovation with Councilman Todd Gloria and who benefits most from an unusual business agreement between the city and the convention center.
A chiropractor claimed he could cure a child's food allergy with a laser treatment. It didn't work. Now state regulators have taken action on this unproven treatment. KPBS Evening Edition starts now. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Dwayne Brown. A preservationist group says it will sue to stop the Plaza de Panama project. San Diego City Council approved the plan last night to put a bypass bridge off the Cabrillo Bridge. It would include a paid underground parking garage. That proposal is intended to get cars out of the heart of the park. The Save Our Heritage organization says it supports removing cars, but says the project would damage the park. The group also claims paid parking would violate a state law establishing Balboa Park as a free park. Mayor Jerry Sanders has been a big supporter of the project. He was talking about the vote and the lawsuit out at the park today. KPBS Metro reporter Katie Orr has been following the story. She joins us now from the news center. What was the mayor's response to this lawsuit, Katie?
Well, Dwayne, he's really not concerned. He says the city has a good legal team in place. This was something San Diego was anticipating might happen. And in general, he says the argument that a paid garage would violate the free and public statute is not a strong one.
The park is free and public, and as you notice around here, nobody's paid to be in the park today. Nobody will pay in the future. There'll be options, just like there is to go to museums and other things in it, for people, if they'd like to go in, to be able to pay to do that. And it'll be the same with parking.
Now, does the mayor think this will impact the timeline of the project, right? To be completed, what, 2015?
Right. They're aiming to have it completed on New Year's 2015. He says he doesn't think this will impact the timeline. They seem confident that they're going to break ground this coming October and, again, have it done in about 2.5 years. So we'll wait and see.
KPBS Metro reporter Katie Orr. We will have more on last night's council vote and the debate over the project with Councilman Todd Gloria in just a few minutes. A San Diego judge is considering requests to put pension reform on hold in San Diego. Union lawyers and a state panel are asking for a temporary restraining order. The union says they should have been consulted before Proposition B went on the ballot. The judge says he will rule on their request soon. In the meantime, the State Public Employee Relations Board will hold its own hearing on the pension reform measure later this month. San Diego's school board has halted the process of closing or consolidating up to 8 campuses to save money. The original proposal upset parents and teachers, so now the board wants the district staff to look at each school on a case-by-case basis rather than simply choosing schools to shut down. A fatal accident has marred the anticipation for ComicCon. A woman was hit by a car on Harbor Drive this morning while running to keep her spot in line. She had been camped out outside the convention center since Sunday night to get a seat for a panel on the Twilight series. She died at the hospital. People who live in the South Bay have a new place to turn for help in overcoming drug and alcohol addiction. Volunteers of America have been on a 6-year journey to find the perfect location in National City. Built in the 1970s as a skilled nursing facility, this newly refurbished building is now home to Volunteers of America Rehabilitation Center. CEO Gerald McFadden.
The people that walk through our doors are someone's son, someone's daughter, someone's husband, and someone's wife. And we approach every person that walks through our doors as if it is a family member of someone that we know.
McFadden says the treatment center is strategically located across the street from Paradise Valley Hospital,
so that we can build a partnership that would allow us to be able to be a resource to each other.
Volunteers of America is a nonprofit health and human services organization. Its rehab program is open to men and women with or without health insurance. It blends medical, psychological, and peer counseling to help people overcome drug addiction. Rooms like these are up and down this hallway in this facility. This is where the initial detox happens for the clients. It has 120 beds for short and long-term stays and includes a commercial kitchen facility to eventually train clients in the food services industry. The center was formerly located downtown, but because of all the redevelopment issues, it was time to find a new home.
So we think that it's a great fit for the medical community. It's a great fit for the individuals suffering with addiction, and we think it's a great fit for National City and the County of San Diego.
The Recovery and Treatment Center officially opens to clients on Thursday. United Healthcare invested more than $5 million to help with cosmetic and safety upgrades. At the start of this newscast, we told you about the City Council vote to approve the Plaza de Panama project and about a planned legal challenge. Peggy Pico has more over at the roundtable.
Joining me to talk about the vote and what comes next is City Councilman Todd Gloria. His district includes Balboa Park. And Councilman Gloria, thanks so much for being here. Now, this City Council meeting yesterday lasted 7 hours, about 140 public comments. People got up to talk. Long time. Councilwoman Sherry Leitner was the only one that voted against it. Originally, you were against this plan, and now you're for it.
Right.
Tell us why.
Well, over the 2 years that we've studied this proposal, looking at the environmental documents, speaking to people on both sides, and really walking the site many times, it became clear to me that there really was no other viable alternative to remove cars from the heart of the park. And when you look at the benefits versus the cost of this project, I believe the benefits far outweigh the costs, and that this plan is achievable in time for the 2015 centennial celebration. That's why I supported it.
So financially, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, but let's take a look at what the park, this is going to be an artist rendition that we want to show the viewers here. Tell us what, basically, explain the plan and how it's going to change the look of the park and why you think it's needed.
Well, what we'll do is that from the Museum of Man all the way through to the Plaza de Panama will all be pedestrianized, much as it is in front of the Fleet in the Natural History Museum today. And so that really the entire length of the Prado is fully dedicated to people, not cars. That is also true of the full plaza area, and then down what we call the Esplanade, which runs around the Oregon Pavilion. And then there'll be a new over 2-acre park behind the Oregon Pavilion, which will cap a parking structure that will increase the amount of parking in the park. What we're trying to do is eliminate the pedestrian vehicle conflicts from the heart of the park and increase parking so that people can actually access the park. The plan also includes a tram system, which should hopefully improve accessibility as well.
Well, let's go back a little bit to the financial impact, because of course people are going to want to know about that. Now, philanthropist Erwin Jacobs, who is also a major supporter of KPBS, supports this plan financially. Tell us what his part of is in this, and then also how the city is going to pay for the rest of it.
Surely. The entire project from beginning to end is projected to cost about $45 million. About $14 million of that will come from a bond offered by the city that will be repaid by fees paid to park in the structure that's going to be constructed. And the balance of it, over $30 million, will come from philanthropy from the Plaza de Panama Committee, which is headed by Dr. Jacobs. Okay,
and today, just a few minutes ago, that we learned that Soho, to Save Our Heritage Group, that organization, they plan on filing a lawsuit to prevent this from going forward. How will the city fight that?
Well, we will fight it. You know, this is in the best interest of our city to reclaim these places, take them away from the cars, give them back to the people. We understand that Soho is going to choose to do that. That was expected. But we will fight it because Balboa Park's worth fighting for. And, you know, when we remove cars from the Eastern Prado in front of the Fleet and the Natural History Museum, that was controversial then. We expect this to be controversial now. But the outcome shouldn't be controversial. I think every San Diegan can embrace the idea of going, you know, taking away those cars, giving it back to the people. And that's what we're going to do, and we're going to do it in time for 2015.
Yeah, and that's the centennial that's coming up. But let's talk before we do about that. Still on the money issue.
Yeah.
Some people were upset about this because you're taking away one free parking lot and you're replacing it with paid parking, $5 a pop for this car. And there was concern that you're relying on that to pay for this project. Is that true? And talk about that.
Well, yes, the fees generated by the parkers, the people who utilize the garage, will pay for the debt service. There's been some question about whether or not it will generate enough fees to cover the full debt service. We believe we're using very conservative figures. The figures actually presume that every freed space in the park is occupied before people will start to choose to park in the garage. And so we think that's an extremely conservative way to go about doing it. Is there some risk? Yes, there is. But, you know, these things are difficult to project. But I happen to think that Balboa Park is a magnificent attraction, that 20 million plus people visit every year. And when choosing between circling for free parking or paying $5 to park, I think many will choose to pay to park. And it's important to note that this is not just to pay to park. This is going to pay to maintain the asset, to operate it, and to run the tram system. So, we often ask people, do you love the park? And they say, yes, I do. And then I ask them, are you willing to make a contribution to the park? Every one of them says yes. This is one way to contribute to the park, to make sure that we maintain and operate it, and to, again, increase accessibility because of the tram system.
We have very little time, but if in a nutshell you can tell us, there is some concern that the historic status of the park, because the bridge alterations mainly, I understand, will interfere with that. So is that at risk, and what does that mean?
That was raised as a concern. Our historic resources planner disagrees strongly, as do many others who are knowledgeable about these issues. Basically, it comes down to whether or not you think removing 70 feet of railing just east of the Cabrillo Bridge should mean that the entirety of the park is no longer historic. We don't think that's true, and in fact, we think that this project will actually improve the historicity of Balboa Park.
Okay, thank you very much, Councilman Gloria. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
An estimated 6 million American children have food allergies. Those who are highly allergic can become seriously ill if they eat the wrong thing. Some chiropractors claim they can cure allergies through the use of a laser. KPBS health reporter Kenny Goldberg tells us about one kid who got the treatment.
Zach Jones is a happy-go-lucky 9-year-old, with one big exception. He has severe food allergies.
I'm allergic to milk, like all dairy products, eggs, stuff like that, and then tree nuts, peanuts, and probably other nuts like walnuts and almonds.
Jones is so allergic to these foods that if someone else ate some peanuts and touched him, Jones would have a reaction.
Well, I would start getting itchy, and then I'll have like red hives and my skin would get red. And then I'll have to take some Benadryl or get a wipe and wipe it off.
Jones' little brother Cole has some allergies too. Recently, their mom, Sylvia, was exploring some alternative therapies. A chiropractor in Escondido told her about an allergy treatment called bioallergenics.
And so I asked him what that was, and he told me it was a laser treatment that eliminated allergies. And I asked him, I had never heard about this before, and I was just curious. And he told me he had a 100% success rate.
So Jones brought Zach in.
He performed laser treatment on my son. So my son sat on a chair, and it was just a little pen with a blue light, and he just, went over the top of his skull, his different points, that they have.
After the therapy, the chiropractor told Jones that in 2 days, Zach could eat eggs. Just to be on the safe side, Jones brought Zach in to see his allergist.
You ready for the summer?
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Michael Welch checked Zach's sensitivity to eggs, and it was off the charts. Sylvia Jones was furious.
You're listening to a professional, and they're telling you this, and you get your hopes up. And then when it doesn't happen, when it didn't work, I was literally sitting in the office, on Facebook making a comment because I didn't want to cry in front of my son, although I had a knot in my throat, because parents are desperate.
Jones filed a formal complaint with the California Board of Chiropractic Examiners. Dr. Welch has been treating patients with allergies for more than 30 years. Even with all of his experience and expertise, Welch says he would never say he could cure someone.
There's no such thing as cure at this point. A lot of exciting things in the pipeline, but nothing that we can call a cure now. It's just simple avoidance and treatment of a reaction if it accidentally happens.
Welch says it's irresponsible and dangerous for chiropractors to claim they can treat or cure food allergies.
If you came to me with back pain and wanted me to work on your back for an orthopedic problem, I'm not going to deal with that. I'm going to send you to somebody who knows how to deal with that and who's been trained in that. The training that chiropractors and others of that ilk have really are not trained in the area of clinical immunology, clinical allergy, clinical pathophysiology of true food allergy. They shouldn't be treating that kind of stuff.
The chiropractor who performed the laser procedure on Zach Jones wouldn't agree to be interviewed. So we instead turned to this chiropractor in Pacific Beach.
Deep breath in and all the way out.
Dr. Brian Stensler operates Dream Wellness with a clinic in Pacific Beach and one in Del Mar. Stensler concedes the story about what a chiropractor did to Zach Jones is disturbing.
People could refer to that as malpractice. I'm not saying that this chiropractor malpractice. I'm not an attorney. I don't know all the facts. What I'm saying is it would not make me very happy if the situation reversed. It would not happen in my office. That I can assure you. And anytime a chiropractor puts somebody's health in danger, it makes the rest of our profession look bad.
The controversial use of lasers has prompted the California Board of Chiropractic Examiners to take action. It has a new regulation that will take effect in mid-July. The rule is aimed at improving consumer safety. It also prohibits the use of lasers outside the chiropractic scope of practice, including the laser treatment of allergies.
It's hard for me to comment on the lasers. It's not part of our standard of care. It's not something that I would do. As a chiropractor, I focus on the function of the nerve system and how the body adapts to the stress.
Zach Jones is still upset about his laser treatment. He'd like to give the chiropractor he saw a piece of his mind.
I would say to him, it didn't work, and you lied to my family, and it's just really disappointing, and you shouldn't do that again.
Zach's mom, Sylvia, wouldn't pull any punches either.
He can't do this. It's dangerous. It's just, I'm sorry. It's just dangerous to do this. You're putting kids' lives at risk.
KPBS health reporter Kenny Goldberg. The Centers for Disease Control says food allergies among children are on the rise. Just as San Diego's largest convention, ComicCon, gets underway, an agreement between a private booking organization and the city was finalized today. Before the vote, Peggy found out who's most likely to benefit from the unusual deal. She's at the roundtable.
In a surprise decision earlier this year, San Diego City Council gave sales and marketing responsibilities for the San Diego Convention Center back to the San Diego Convention and Visitors Bureau, or ConVis. Later, local hoteliers voted to collect a tax to help fund the convention center expansion, which would add more than 400,000 square feet to the existing facility. Joining me to talk about the agreement and the plans for the convention center is Joe Terzi, President and CEO of ConVis. Joe, thanks so much for being here.
Yeah.
My first question for you would be to have you describe sort of the major points of this agreement, this marketing agreement that's
Sure.
going to be talked about before the City Council.
Yeah, it's very exciting for us. As you said, we are actually, the marketing for the center, the sales and marketing for the center is actually going back to the Bureau. And the major points are we're going to be responsible for selling and marketing the building for 18 months and out. So longer term events, large citywide events that happen 3, 4, 5, 10, 15 years out. So that's our responsibility. So the selling and marketing of the large event comes back to ConVis, but there is a short-term role that the center still has for booking local events and events that happen within usually 12 to 18 months. And so it's just segregating that responsibility a little bit, giving us the responsibility for the major events.
So a little bit of a separation there.
Correct.
Now, a report in The Atlantic last month said attendance at large conventions has been falling since the 1990s, and large conventions are on the decline. My question to you is, what is your plan to keep the San Diego Convention Center in the convention arena?
Sure. Yeah, I think one of the long-term plans, obviously, is the expansion. And, you know, anyone that really looks at the convention center business understands how important it is to have the right facility, the right size meeting space, the right size exhibit hall, and that's what we're working on with this expansion. That expansion will put San Diego back into the upper tier convention centers, and it's really all about, you know, where you fit into that, you know, that tier, and San Diego has fallen out of that tier because we are mid to upper size. We're not in the primary tier.
In the primary tier. So if the expansion pushes us into the primary tier, what sort of conventions will we be able to attract?
Sure. Well, we'll be able to keep the large ones we have. ComicCon has been the poster child, and they're only signed up through 2015. We're working on 2016 now, but there's HIMSS and there's some large very lucrative medical conventions that either are in the building or can't come back to the building because it just doesn't fit their needs on a go-forward basis. So it's retaining the large, more lucrative, what we consider to be medical conventions, and attracting more conventions that just can't fit in the building right now.
So that's on the positive side. On
Yes.
the negative side, critics are concerned that hoteliers might be getting some extra benefits from you rather than you looking out for the city as far as ConVis going. How would you respond to those critics?
I think those critics really don't understand what happens in the community and what the role of selling the building is. We're out there every day selling San Diego. We wake up as an organization with nothing more than how do we attract more people to San Diego, whether it be a leisure visitor, whether it be a meeting or a large convention. That's our role. That's what we do. That's what we spend our time doing. So this unifies that selling effort, puts it back under the Bureau. It allows us to leverage a lot of the capacities we have now and allows us to get it deeper into the market with one message about San Diego. And that, to me, is the most important part of that. When we attract people to San Diego, they stay in the hotels, obviously, because they're at the convention center. But really, when you think about it, there's no one that doesn't win in this deal when you look at it that way, because really the expansion will drive almost 300,000 more room nights into the market annually, which is a huge number. The hotels will be busier, but really the city is one of the major benefactors because it gets 10.5% of every dollar spent in San Diego hotels, and they keep all of the TOT tax revenue, which is over $150 million this year.
So you're arguing that both will benefit,
Absolutely.
both the hotels and
No
the center. If the hotel tax ends up not being legal, how will that impact the convention center?
Well, this deal, the agreement is in place. Assuming that it gets approved by the City Council, we'll move forward. And it's not contingent on the center expansion. It's an agreement that will be put in place effective hopefully this week, and it runs for 4 years. There's a 4-year term on it, and then there's a renewal agreement that every year after that it would be renewed on a 2-year rotating basis. So at a minimum it's 4 years, and then hopefully after that it will renew every second year.
And it's not necessarily contingent,
It
you're
is not.
saying.
No, it's
so
not.
one brief thing I have to cover is last week the labor unions held this press conference about the living wage, saying you wanted that struck from the agreement. A, is that true? And B, where does it stand now?
Yeah, there's a misperception there. We asked the question of the city, how does this affect our associates? We have about 80 associates that volunteer with us, that actually work in all the visitor centers we have, that interact with the public, and they work on a volunteer basis. We were concerned that if we did have a living wage agreement that we had to live under, that we couldn't keep those associates involved. So it was really more about, does this apply to our volunteer group? We couldn't get a ruling. We just got a ruling on Friday that said, no, it doesn't apply to volunteers, the people that volunteer to help out. It does apply to full and part-time associates, and we have no one working at the Bureau that doesn't make in excess of almost $20 an hour. So it's not an issue. It's in the contract. It was a misperception about what we were trying to do. We were trying to get ourselves covered.
Okay, we have to end it there.
Yep.
Thank you so much, Joe, for joining us today.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
Another change may be coming to the convention center soon. Its exterior sails need replacing. They're 2 years past their useful life. The convention center says it could be a problem in a big windstorm. Putting in new sails is expected to cost more than $11 million.
Tonight in our public square, hundreds of people told the city council last night their thoughts on the Balboa Park Plaza de Panama plan. And you had some thoughts to share with us as well. On our Facebook page, Saray Goebel Johnson wrote, "Sad day for San Diego." But Joey Davis says she doesn't understand the negativity about the plan. She wrote, "Wow, I don't get it. This is going to be a major improvement to the park. Why is everyone against it?" And John Kiesler said, "It's not just about removing cars from the plaza. It was about major unnecessary demolition of a big chunk in the middle of the park. The spin doctors won this one." You can weigh in on this conversation by following us on Twitter, liking us on Facebook, or you can just email us at publicsquare@kpbs.org.
Recapping tonight's top stories, a preservationist group says it will sue to stop the Plaza de Panama project. San Diego City Council approved the plan to put a bypass bridge off the Cabrillo Bridge. It would include a paid underground parking garage. The proposal is intended to get cars out of the heart of the park. The Save Our Heritage organization says it supports removing cars, but says the project would damage the park. The group also claims paid parking would violate a state law establishing Balboa Park as a free zone. Mayor Jerry Sanders says the city anticipated a possible suit, but he says the opponents don't have a strong argument. He says park visitors will still have free options. San Diego School Board has halted plans to close or consolidate up to 8 campuses to save money. The original proposal upset parents and teachers, so now the board wants the district staff to look at each school on a case-by-case basis, rather than simply choosing schools to shut down. You can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. Thanks for joining us. You have a great night.